Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Cast with Nenye. And so I'm just happy to be here, honestly, because oftentimes I'll see people say, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I'm like, okay, today you're going to say it and do all of those things that YouTube people do. So once again, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Alize Chineye Ogechukwu, and I have a running podcast, the Cast with Nenye podcast, which is bent on bringing out the best in you. Well, just all about self-development and improvement. And we speak about challenges that young people face while trying to also self-develop and improve. And so on that note, I've been doing audio podcasts for a while, since 2020. So this year, I said to myself that I think I need to switch it up a bit. Maybe I'll need to do some videos, talk about my podcast journey, some things that you should know about podcasts, then talk about my career, life in general, and some things just basically to inspire people and empower more young people. So that's why I'm here today. So now down to business. How did the Cast with Nenye start? What's the story behind the Cast with Nenye? How did I, emanate? What inspired me to go into podcasting and all of that? So I'm going to be sharing that shortly. So the Cast with Nenye was born out of a passion for public speaking. As a growing up child, I've always loved public speaking to people. I just love being in gatherings where people are speaking, having great conversations, conversing and all of that. So not to say that I'm an extrovert, like extra extrovert, but I just love being in spaces where you're having great conversations. You're speaking, people are speaking to you, you're listening, you're actively giving contributions and whatnot. So I've always been that kind of person. And then over time, I'll just stand in front of the mirror, be moderating events. I'll literally write a program and moderate the event from start to finish in front of the mirror. So I've always had that flair for public speaking for a long time. And so during the COVID, although before then, what I would do, I didn't know that there was something called podcasts and audio, kind of thing that people as far as United States, United Kingdom, Germany could listen in and tune in. It's just just the magic of an RSS feed that you get to know as you progress in my YouTube channel. I'll be taking you through, some podcast tips, how to start a podcast and whatnot. So just stay connected so that you don't miss out. So prior to when I heard about podcasts, I would usually do recordings on my phone, just audios of myself speaking, maybe on a particular topic, on something, just something, and I'll just share to my friends, ask for feedback and whatnot. So feedback is very important in your growth, because as a Toastmaster, I would say feedback is the breakfast for champions. So if you want to be a champion, you always need feedback so you can grow and evolve into a better person. So then, fast forward to 2020. But that's what I always do. Fast forward to 2020, during the lockdown pandemic, everybody was in the house trying to up their game. I mean, the world was on standstill. Nobody was doing any physical work, no 9 to 5 again. It was just remote. Now everybody is doing virtual, good morning, ma, online. People were just learning skills, trying to develop themselves basically. So then, one of my teachers, my teacher, Olivia Ogwadima, she had a podcast, Gems on Net podcasts. And then, while in school, she was handling that podcast while in school. So during the lockdown, she organized a class. It was like 2,000 naira for the webinar for 3 days or 4 days? Or was it a week? I'm not sure about how long, but I know it was either between 3 days or so, or 5 days, thereabouts. So she said 2,000. I'm like, okay. That time, 2,000 was like, okay. Nice. So I paid for the class, for the webinar. How many were we? Was it about 5 or so in that class? So she was training us. We're having webinars, WhatsApp, calls, Google Meet, just classes basically, just talk about podcasting, what podcast is about, how to start your own podcast, getting a name, getting a brand, that's building a personal brand of podcast. She spoke on a lot of things. After that class, I was like, so this is it, there's something that you can use and you can go viral. The world can listen in, people can tune in from wherever they are, and your message will be heard. And so that was how I started my podcast. I launched my podcast, my first episode specifically on the 27th of May 2020. And so that's why till date I celebrate on that day, because it's Children's Day, but it means a lot to me because that's when I was able to publish my first episode. And nonetheless, we're we're about 5 in the class that time. But till now, I can say that I'm the only one that's still pushing and still doing this whole podcasting up until now. Maybe people had other things in got occupied and whatnot. It's not like I'm not occupied, but then it's that passion just to speak to people, have conversations, interview people, just basically inspire people. That's what's still driving me up until now. Not even about the benefits, basically. So that's something I also talk about when I'm delving more into starting a podcast. And so that's how I started, and that is how we are today. It's 4 years now. So like I said, it has been amazing 4 years, amazing 4 years of growth, development. That's with Nenye podcast has been able to publish a lot of episodes. We have been able to, make our way through a lot of countries, I think more than 10 countries. Then we are on a lot of platforms right now. I think more than 10 platforms as well. So is that not good news? I mean, for someone who started out as a student, a chemical engineering student for that matter, it was not really easy. But I was able to strike a balance. Some months we were not really consistent because of schoolwork and a lot of things. But then I had to keep moving, because when I remember why I started, I can remember like time when I wanted to I'm even tired self. But when I remember why I started and what we are about growth and development and the challenges that young people face. We're just trying to provide a pathway to growth and development. So it even helped me, cut down the kind of people I bring on my episode, carefully select the kind of topics, because we are strictly educational. We are educational, at least the kind of podcast that you listen to, and you have major takeaways. You have something to go back home and ponder on and change your life. So that's one importance of having a niche. It helps you trim down the kind of people you bring on your podcast. Not some random podcasts nowadays. I don't know what is happening. And it's not rubbing off on podcasts like all podcasts are the same. Please, we're not like that. I mean, yeah, good, awesome. You have something to learn from every episode that you listen to. So it helps me cut down on the kind of people I bring on my podcast and the kind of topics that we speak about. So Nenye has literally grown from then up until now. I've been able to bet the student boss community. We are over 100 members, students on that community. It's also a community where we inspire and empower young people, young minds through our journeys, using webinars, mentorship, and discussions. And then we also have our website. Nenye has a website. We have our Instagram page. So it has just been amazing. Thank you so much for staying through with us. If you've been a fan, please just keep on listening and bring more people to come and listen. And let's just change the narrative of young people. We can be better. We can be better. We are better, and we are good people. So thank you once again for listening. I remain your humble host, Nenye. I'm currently a chemical engineering trainee. That's what I studied in school. So subscribe, like, comment, share this video. See you next time. We'll get to talk about podcast things, how to start a podcast, and whatnot. So see you soon. Bye.